Hey guys, we're back with a brand new video, and I got a cold, so my voice is very hoarse. But I know I needed to come out with a new video because I haven't came out with one in a while. So this year was the 90th anniversary. No, yeah, the 90th anniversary of the stock market crash, which caused the Great Depression. So I've been preparing this video since October 29th. The problem is, every time I would download pictures like this for my video, it'll be blurry. So some, like this picture right here, I got it so it's not blurry. But some, I didn't. I'm sorry, I really tried to get them so they're not blurry, but I only got a couple. So, to get what happened in the Depression, so to get what happened to get what happened, you have to go to the end of World War One. WW1 was probably, up to this point, the worst war in human history by far. And that started in 1914 after Archduke Ferdinand and his wife were shot and killed in, I think, Serbia. I think that's the name of the little country, city-state thing. And it sparked off World War One. The U.S. did not get involved until the last year of the war, 1917 and 1918. And the war ended in 1918. So after the war, all the men came back. There was a lot of partying. People were buying the new inventions that came out, like the car, the vacuum cleaner, the dishwasher, the zipper came out. All the stuff. There's nightclubs and everything, and it was huge. It was huge in a way, and women just got the right to vote. Everyone was just partying, and everyone was taking all these loans out of the banks and stuff. So, as a book I would put it, it's a bubble just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bubble burst on October 29th to October 29th, 1929. The bubble finally burst. But there was way much prior warning to this. Like earlier that year, the stock market went down a whole bunch and went back up. And it did this a couple times. And 29 is when it officially crashed, really. And people lost some money overnight. So since it was a Tuesday, Wednesday rolls around, everyone, in this picture right here, are trying to get into the bank to take the money. But here's the thing. The bank does not... I'll see what other pictures we have, okay? But the thing is, the bank didn't have the money. Because what a bank does, they take... So if you walk in with, $5 and give it to them, and I put this in my savings account. It was in your account. They take that $5 bill and they put it in the stock market. Well, first they add that you have $5, but then they take that $5 bill and they might invest in Microsoft or Apple or Coca-Cola, Ford, GM, stuff like that, mutual funds. So the bank gets a little bit more money. But now there's been precautions taken. If you go to a bank, they guarantee that they can give you $100. It was $100,000. Back then they didn't have all that. But so let's continue. Let's go back to the $5 thing again. So if you go back and ask for $5 back, they won't give you the same $5. That's like all we've been invested in Microsoft or something. So let's go back. So now these people trying to go get their money, but the bank has none because they've given out way too many loans, and plus they might have been in debt, so they try to pay off the debt quick to stay open, or they lost it all in the stock market. It was all invested, so they couldn't do anything. And so quickly people started losing money. Companies like billionaires became like the poorest overnight. And it was like heck. But this not only affected the US, this affected people everywhere. Like by this point Germany, by this point Germany, they've been struggling since they had to pay off so much debt to the Allies. And when the Great Depression hit, like, hey, let's just print more money. The country went into inflation, and like the money was so worthless, they used the dollars as wallpaper. There's pictures of people putting dollars on the wall as the wallpaper to their house. So yeah, that happened. And so, this is affecting, all these different banks. So that, people are now looking for someone to blame. They blame President Hoover. And when they built, little, towns and shacks and stuff to live in, they call them Hoovervilles as, protest. So Hoover was not that, popular right now. So quickly, places like Ford and all these other places, like Ford, GM, General Electric, all these other places, they started going under quick. So they needed to fire workers. And because of this, the unemployment rate went up. So then, to try, I guess, to kind of help people, and mostly just because of protests, the U.S. government decided to pass Prohibition Act, which was basically banning on alcohol. They're thinking like, hey, a lot of people use their money on alcohol. Maybe, this helps us save up the money. Instead, gangsters like Al Capone came into power. The mob, the mafia came into power, kind of thing. It took over, these cities, like Chicago, I think L.A., New York. Even Omaha, Nebraska was under the under the mob's rule. So I was just trying to clear my throat for a second. Okay, so now as okay, back on. Okay, yeah. Sorry, just need a little break. Blew my nose, cough some stuff up. Okay, I'm good now. Let's continue. So then, okay, so some of the mafia took in control. And so we'll just end with the mafia thing right there. Let's go back. So then, in big cities, the free soup kitchens and stuff became popular. At the time, this scene right here, all these men, this was actually very, very embarrassing for them, kind of thing. Mostly because at the time, this is embarrassing for a lot of men at the time to do something like this, to stand in for free food and bread, or as the sign says, coffee and donuts. Which, this sounds really good right now, to be honest. So now, as the depression goes on, Hoovervilles, as I said, little shacks made out of whatever people could find, basically trash, came up around big cities. Mostly around the train yards, or the train station, Why? Because people like so let's say people like all these people right here in the picture will actually hop on these trains to try to get to other places. Like let's say this guy, let's say that guy right there. See that guy looking at the camera right there. So let's say this guy can't find any like employment, and so let's say he can't find anywhere to work in New York. So maybe he will have a little shack set up, and then when a train stops, he'll quickly hop on the train, or while it's going, he'll quickly jump on, and he will go to, let's say, Chicago to go see if there's a job there. And if there isn't, he'll hop on the other train, maybe to St. Paul, Minnesota, like stuff like that, and then they'll just keep going until they find a job, really. So then so at this point, Herbert Hoover is like hated as a president, mostly because the country is basically kind of falling apart. Really, the economy is falling apart, and they're blaming everything on him. And so then, to make him even more unliked, a whole bunch of people, well, mostly men, fought in World War One. Remember, the government said that they would give him checks as a thank you for helping fight in the war. So all these people, they wanted the checks now. So all these people flock to D.C. and sit in front of the White House in the Capitol. Like basically that big plane between the National Mall. They all sat in between there. And at this point, this is like, and then like all of a sudden, Hooverville is being built in the middle of D.C. But they said that they will stay there until they get the checks. The government said no repeatedly, and then they decided to send federal troops with bayonets and with tear gas and basically stormed the camp, really. And they killed 2 people, wounded many more. And this made Herbert Hoover even more unliked. But then, so then the election year comes by, and the U.S. is still in like crippling depression, and is in this depression. Then this new guy comes and says, "I'm going to, do all of this stuff to help you build the economy." This guy's name is FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He says, "I'm going to create all these reforms." And people just loved him, like they said, this is like the guy who can help his kids out of this depression. And he won in a landslide. And right away, he did, it's like the 100-day something. And he did all this stuff, basically called the New Deal. And he decided, we're going to create a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, build a whole bunch of stuff. Like, the Empire State Building, which I guess was before. But it was like, I guess it was a work project. And others like the Golden Gate Bridge. Golden Gate Bridge, the Hoover Dam, roads, and all like paved roads and everything, were all built because of FDR. And so people started getting more money. And so then we can't leave out California if you talk about the Great Depression. California was like, well, California has a whole bunch of farms. Literally, it's a farming state. That's what it is. I know you have the biggest cities in the country there, but a majority of California is farming. Like a whole bunch of grapes, lettuce, and peaches, maybe oranges. I don't know, stuff like that. I know definitely grapes and lettuce and like some stuff like that. All comes from California. Well, all these people start going to California because, like, hey, you know, there's lots of farms there. They might need workers too. Only to go there and find out that the farmers are struggling themselves, most of them. And so now all of a sudden there's this big population boom in California. So yeah, that's basically all I have got about California. So then, we have not talked about the Midwest yet. The Midwest, basically up until maybe around the mid-30s, it's been going pretty good. Like, depression hasn't hit hard, the farmers are still doing the best, kind of thing. But then all of a sudden, a drought hits. People start losing money and start losing land, start losing their homes and stuff. But that was only a few. And so the farmer's like, next year will be a better year. And once another drought hit, then a lot more farmers went down. And the farmer one's like, next year's gonna be even better. It'll be a good year. We can at least farm and get enough money to survive until next farming year. No, that didn't happen. Said this happened, and a whole bunch of dust came and basically, like, blanketed the Midwest of dust. Like, I could not find the picture, but there is a picture of Hastings, Nebraska, and a giant dust cloud is coming towards it. And, yeah. So then this happened, and basically a lot of farmers went out of business, so they had to move to the cities and stuff. So, like, and like my great grandpa even he owned a grocery store, and he even lost in depression because he was too nice and he gave away too much free stuff. Yeah, that's kind of a cool little fact there. But he recovered, thankfully. So then the Dust Bowl hit, and now farming is down in the Midwest. And like, basically, like, whole entire towns just buried in dust. It was just horrible. So now it's called the Dust Bowl, by the way. I think did I say that? Okay, I don't know if I said that right. So then by the late 30s hit, it's getting better. It's getting better slowly. And then in 1939, I know we're jumping like a long way. Hitler invades Poland. World War II starts. The U.S. is like, we're not going to get involved. Britain, France, Russia go to war. By 1941, the U.S. is slowly getting involved. Like they're starting to send some like supplies over for the British, but the British, they need to exchange for some stuff, like some bases, and like other supplies, kind of thing. But then in 1941, I do not have a picture of it. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, which was huge. America's just been attacked. America quickly declares war on Japan and its allies, and the U.S. fought into World War II. But by 1940s, the Depression has gotten better since 1929, but not the way it was. But now all these men have jobs, and you go overseas and fight. And this leaves all the women back home to go, and so now this leaves all this women to go in factories and build like bombers, tanks, jeeps, guns, ammunition, missiles, and all this stuff. And so now this is what got the government back up. So in the end, it took almost 20-some years for the stock market to go back up where it was in the 20s. And I said the highest rate of unemployment was 24%, if I remember. And since then, the government has put all of this stuff in to, like, governments around the world have put all this stuff together to make sure this never happens again, kind of thing. Because it's bad, kind of thing. So, all these, like, bank reforms and stuff. And, sorry, excuse me. And so, they did all these bank reforms. There was another scare back in 2008. But, it was a scare. That it almost got as bad as the Depression. But thankfully, it never did. So, basically, that's all I have for this video. I actually go to this picture. So, this is actually probably the most famous pictures of the Depression right here. That's why I have it. That's why I picked it to put in this video. So, if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you want other history videos, we have videos on World War II, Joseph Stalin, we have a video on him, Lindenberg kidnapping, we have lots of history videos, and this was actually very hard for me to do, because I don't know much about the Depression offhand. Get to know 20 minutes of it, but that's kind of mostly of it. Pausing to think of what it was again. Like, I don't know much about the Depression itself. I'll just go off memory when I do this video. That's what I do with all my videos, by the way. Just me going off memory. That's kind of the impressive part. No, like, written speeches or anything like that. It's all off of memory. But if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!